Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the weekly prog news, give you a curated list of new prog singles to check out, and give you updates on what's happening here on Nathan on Shuffle. Always exciting to join you guys for the week. Today is actually September 6th, 2024, and a pretty decent release day for some cool new records that I want to point your attention towards. So first, in the news column, there's a new album out by David Gilmour, of course, legendary guitarist and singer of Pink Floyd. The album is called Luck and Strange, and I've been hearing pretty positive reviews of it. I've listened to a little bit of it, but not the complete record. I think it's more of kind of a chill, just a grooving album. Nothing knocking people off their socks, but just really solid and a really pleasant listen from him. So definitely an album worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of his and of Pink Floyd in general. Pure Reason Revolution have a new album out called Coming Up to Consciousness. This is one I reviewed this week. I totally love this. Has a little dash of that like Pink Floyd kind of spirit to it, but a little bit darker, a little bit moodier, a little bit heavier at times. Think of like more metal tinged Porcupine Tree era Steven Wilson stuff is mixed into their music, but they have their own unique sound, this great blend of female and male vocals. Just can't recommend it enough. I think they're extremely talented, and this new album is a really great one, well worth your attention. Jordan Rudess has a new album, of course, the legendary keyboard player from Dream Theater. The album's called Permission to Fly. I'm going to be doing a review of it this week, but suffice to say it's maybe his best solo work. I think it's excellent. Showcases all of his technical wizardry that he's known for, influenced by all the prog legendary keyboard players. But has some interesting vocal work, feels more of a cohesive band project than some of his solo work in the past. So excited to delve into it this week, so stay tuned for a review of that one. And Jordan Rudess has a new video out for his track Embers, which I want to mention here, and I'll put a link to it in the description, included as one of my singles. It's not really in the singles list proper because I did mention Embers by him when it was first released earlier, but this is a new video to accompany the album release, so I think it's worth putting out there. So check the description for these shows. There's all kinds of YouTube links to some great music, including a playlist of all of the tracks that I talk about in the episode. So as for some other quick news items that I want to mention, there's a new John Wetton live collection, Concentus, John Wetton Live Collection Volume 1, first of a series of 3 box sets. This is from Spirit of Unicorn Music. It sounds like it's going to have a big sprawling amount of CDs, 10 CDs here. The first selection of John's live albums, all of which have been newly mastered by Andy Pierce. Also included is a selection of bonus material, including rare and hard-to-find cuts, and the collection is presented in a compact box and comes with new and extensive sleeve notes from Prog magazine editor Jerry Ewing. So it seems like a very carefully curated collection for fans of John Wetton and his material. He's just a legendary artist, has a really expansive career, 40 years in his belt, was a member of several influential and much-loved bands, including Family, King Crimson, Uriah Heep, Wishbone Ash, Roxy Music UK, Asia, and Icon. Appeared on a host of albums as a guest or session player, including for Brian Ferry, Steve Hackett, Brian Eno, Renaissance, and Galahad, so to speak. So a really beautiful release from a very severely missed artist that we love. It's been blessed by his wife, Lisa, and son Dylan, has the full support of the Wetton estate, so it should be a really great release, something to really cherish by an incredible musician in the prog space. Marillion announced that they're releasing a new deluxe edition of their album This Strange Engine through Racket Records. It's going to be available November 22nd. The new edition is available for pre-order, and you can listen now to a mix of Man of a Thousand Faces, a new 2024 mix, if you want to search that out. It's going to be released as a 5-disc version, 4 CDs and a Blu-ray, or a 5 LP vinyl box set. Both sets are going to include a version of the original studio album, newly mixed and mastered, a previously unreleased complete recording of the band's 97 performance in Grand Rapids. There's a bonus Blu-ray included in the media book version containing the album in high res, jam sessions, early versions of the album track, tracks, This Strange Engine documentary, Live in Ulrich bootleg concert video, and promo videos from the time the album was released. So this was their album from 1997, their 9th studio album, 5th with Steve Hogarth. So a really great album. I really love it. In fact, recently I found it missing from my Apple Music library. I do stream a lot of music through their service when I'm on the go and such. So I loaded it myself with my CD copy since it was off of the streaming service, so I could have it in my collection. But now I understand they probably took it away because they're about to release this newer edition and newer version in its place. So kind of a funny little aside there. I also saw that Lee Abraham is announcing a new solo album called Origin of the Storm. He has a pretty prolific solo career full of great albums. He's the Galahad guitarist, and this is going to be coming out on October 21st. It's a follow-up to his 2021 album, Only Human, and his 9th solo release, dealing with an array of subjects such as the conflict in Ukraine, mental health struggles, past childhood memories, and a centerpiece epic about mythical sirens of the sea. So covering a lot of ground, including a lot of great guest appearances by notable prog people like Clive Nolan, Mark Spencer, Mark Atkinson, Paul Drew, Alistair Martin, and Peter Jones of Tiger Moth Tales fame, who we'll get to some news about him as well a little bit later on. So should be a really cool album to check out. I'm always interested in what these guys are doing. I love Galahad. Their latest album was really, really good. And so this is something worth checking out from Lee Abraham. Something to look forward to in the near future. All right, now onto our prog singles list, and I'm burying the lead a little bit here, but the biggest news from my perspective as a massive fan of this artist is the new Neal, Morse and the Resonance album was announced. This is going to be coming out on Inside Out on November 8th, called No Hill for a Climber, and they just released the first single from it called All the Rage, which is a fantastic single, very classic Morse, wonderful with some great prog flourishes, but a supremely catchy chorus, just everything you'd love from him, and a great introduction to this new group he's playing with, which they're calling The Resonance, which from my understanding is a bunch of guys that are more local to Neal Morse, that play around that area, and he has come in contact with over the years for whatever reason, a bunch of younger talented guys, and they're playing on the record, so it's going to be a really cool release. Apparently the record contains 2 big lengthy epics at the beginning and end of the record, with 3 shorter songs sandwiched in between. Mike Portnoy has already quoted that it's an awesome album. I can safely say this will be a fave of the year for me, so he's giving it his kind of stamp of approval as well. It sounds like it's getting a little bit of buzz from the people that Neal's shown it to already, so I can't wait to get my hands on this release and listen to it. I've already pre-ordered the album. The album's available for pre-order now as well, and Radiant Records is offering some bundles with this album along with the Morse Fest 2023 package, which is like a big deluxe 5 CD, 2 Blu-ray package of the latest Morse Fest from last year, where they covered Testimony and Testimony 2, along with a host of extras and additional tracks and such. So really a lot going on today in the Neal Morse camp, and I couldn't be more thrilled. This is going to be a really cool release, and I think it could be like vintage classic Neal Morse stuff. Feels like it's a little bit of a stand-in while the Neal Morse band members aren't available. At least Mike Portnoy, being with Dream Theater, has probably made his availability slim to none, so I think this is going to be a fun placeholder, and we'll see if this catches on and there's more albums in this configuration with these new local younger musicians. So really cool stuff. The younger guys that are involved here are Chris Riley, Andre Medashian, and Philip Martin. And then we've got some drummers, Joe Gonzelli and Johnny Bisaha as well, playing on the record. So, and it's available, like I said, for pre-order, a 2 CD digipack version, including a second disc of an instrumental version of the album, a standard jewel case CD version, and a gatefold 2 LP, and of course digitally as well. So can't wait to talk about that one. You know for sure that one's going to be getting a solid review from me, and I'll be talking a whole bunch about it as it comes out. And then we've got a new Opeth single, Opeth Section 3. This is a fantastic track, really leaning into their progginess, maybe a bit more in the kind of newer Opeth vein rather than the old school. The first single they released had some of those growls, and people were excited because it was harkening back to their earlier days where they did harsher vocals and more death metal sounds. But this one is more in the newer proggier camp, but still hard hitting, still amazing, has a lot of complexity to it. I just love it. So this is a check well worth checking out if you want to get amped for the new Opeth record, The Last Will and Testament, which is coming out later this year on October 11th. So still super excited for the new Opeth record. It's a cool concept record. It sounds like the band's put a lot of work into it, and it's getting a lot of great buzz. I just can't wait for it. I also have a track from Clone. Their title track, I believe, from their record. It's called The Unseen. The record's going to be released on November 8th, and it's a somewhat extended atmospheric track with everything they're known for. They're more of like atmospheric, but also metal at the same time, this cool proggy blend that they go for, and I think it's really expertly done. They've been really gaining in popularity and been doing a lot of festival dates and things like that. They're a French band, and they're just fantastic at what they do, and I think this track really showcases a lot of the greatness that they have within them, so definitely check it out. It's a fantastic release. I also wanted to spotlight Tiger Moth Tales' Return to Chigwick, which is a fantastic new track from Peter Jones, who's the main man of Tiger Moth Tales, releasing a 10th anniversary edition of the album Cocoon, so he added an extra song, and there's a YouTube clip, YouTube video showcasing the song. It's a beautiful, mostly acoustic and softer, but a little bit of prog flourishes in the middle section. Just a beautiful record, so that's available for your guys' attention. And then Dilemma has a new album coming out September 20th. I've talked about it a little bit, called The Purpose Paradox. They released their track Sanctuary, which is actually the album opener. It's a longer track, 8 minutes long or so, but showcases pretty much all that the band's about, kind of this modern prog with edge approach, with some really cool instrumental stuff. Really great stuff if you're a fan of Neal Morse, as I've been mentioning, Dream Theater, Spock's Beard, those types of artists, even Porcupine Tree, Frost, IQ, all those style bands, then this should be right up your alley. It's going to be a cool record, and most likely I'll be discussing it on the channel as well. Then I wanted to give a shout out as a sixth kind of bonus track here on my list to Circe Link and Christian Nesmith and their album Arcana. A fantastic record that I've been really loving. I'll probably do a review of it in the next couple weeks, but I just barely discovered it, and I got to really listen to it a few more times. If you love classic retro prog with the likes of Yes and Genesis, Gentle Giant, all those mixed together with a fantastic female vocalist, this is a brilliant album that I think a lot of you will enjoy. And the opening track, The Tower, which is a pretty extended track. All the tracks on here are pretty lengthy prog tracks, as you might expect. It's just a fantastic record and a fantastic track, and I want to point people's attentions to it even before I'm about to put my review of it in a couple weeks. But fantastic, great tracks. This is a really solid list. I recommend checking out the playlist or checking out the individual YouTube links or going off and searching them off yourself in whatever service you listen through. Fantastic songs, fantastic future ahead for music. I'm excited for this last stretch of the year to play out, as there's a lot of big records I'm looking forward to coming that I'll definitely be talking about. As for the channel this week, I thought it was a pretty solid week, if I say so myself. Had a fun top 5 episode that I did with my wife, if you missed it. We're talking about her favorite progressive rock bands, and I thought she gave a stellar list based on the Prog Song Sundays we've done together, the Jana Reacts episodes. She's been able to listen to a lot of prog and has come to some conclusions about what bands have really struck her the most through her exploration. I think you guys would like that video if you haven't checked it out yet. One of the most fun videos to film, and I really loved it. I did a review of the new Pure Reason Revolution record, as I mentioned, Coming Up to Consciousness. Love that record. I think it's well worth anybody's time and attention to check out. So check out my review of it, but even more so, check out that record. It's out now, and it's brilliant. I also did a bit of a rant episode. I wasn't sure how this one was going to go. I just pressed record and just talked off the cuff about something that I'm really passionate about kind of the subjectivity of music, how sometimes people treat their opinions as facts and try to bring down music, bring down people's things that they love, and I just don't care for that, the negative clickbait and that kind of stuff. So a swirling amount of different topics discussed, but if you want to get a feel for my true feelings about music and how I feel that it's mostly a subjective thing that's more about your own personal taste and your own exploration, go check that video out if you might want to hear some of those thoughts. I didn't really promote it a whole ton because I was a little afraid to put it out there, but it seems like it's gotten very well received, and I'm very grateful for the comments and the supportiveness that people have shown from that video. So very grateful for that. And next week should be a pretty big week as well. I have a couple reviews. I'm going to review the new Jordan Rudess album. I also think I'm going to review the new Bent Knee album, which I really love. A little bit different than my usual like classic prog stuff that I tend to talk about, but I think it's well worth checking out if you're into like cool art pop music. I think they're a brilliant band. And I'm going to be doing a bit of a top 5 episode also, following in the footsteps of a recent video I saw from my friend Notes Reviews. I think I'm going to be talking about some late career albums by some really standout bands in the prog space, so check that out as well. So a stacked week, another traditional Prog Song Sunday with Jana coming this Sunday as well, so should be a great time. Hopefully you guys are enjoying all the content here. And please let me know in the comments anything you're feeling about music right now, any news items I maybe didn't hit on that you're excited for, any other singles that I may have missed in my rundown. I love catching some new music as you guys mention it in the comments for me. So always a lot of fun, a great community here, and I love the reciprocal nature of like giving you guys some recommendations, but then you feeding them back to me in some ways. So thank you guys so much, and I'll definitely be catching you guys, hopefully, in a future episode. So thank you guys, and enjoy the music. Bye, everybody.